Okay, is the background a little bit of a mess? Yes. Are we just gonna go with it anyway? Yes. Let's talk about the books that I am planning to read, not by the end of this year, but like my TBR for the rest of the year. Okay? I mentioned my TBR in a vlog a few videos back, and an unexpected amount of people wanted to see what I want to read in the upcoming months. So here I am. I had already filmed this a few weeks ago, and then I pretty much revamped my whole TBR to kind of fit the vibes for the end of the year. To keep track of my reading and to come up with my reading list, I have this little like Notion page. So I will be looking at it maybe at some point. So for the record, this is only the books that I have. And I've actually done a really good job with my TBR because most of the books on my current TBR for the rest of the year, I already have. Yay for reading the books we already have. So these are kind of in order, but also kind of not. I might change them around depending on vibes. But I like to go in order that I've made it in my Notion, but sometimes I just shift them around. So yeah, I might get some books from the library at some point, and things might change. And if you're a reader, you know, sometimes things change, and sometimes you want to read something else instead of what your TBR says. However, here is my TBR for the rest of the year. These are some of the books that I really love to read in the upcoming months when the weather gets all gloomy and candles and blankets and tea and my favorite season of all of them. I thought I could start with what I'm reading right now, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. And I really have to show you this bookmark because that's so fun. I showed this to my sister and my sister said, "That's so fucking ugly." And I said, this is the third book in the ACOTAR series. I medium enjoyed the first one. I thought it was fine. Second one, loved, 5 stars. This one, I'm about that much in. So about almost 2/3 in. It's fine. I enjoy being in the world and I enjoy the characters, but like there's, I'm just not having a good time. I'm hoping that it gets better when I keep reading. Then for uni, I will be starting The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. This is like from the beginnings of sci-fi. So I'm taking a literary course at the university about sci-fi literature, and this is some course reading for that. So I'll be starting this today, and Aliens, I think. So good. Yeah, that's for uni reading. Then I finally finished the Game of Thrones this year, and so I decided to absolutely torture myself by reading The Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. There's a lot of pages. There's like 800 pages, which is not a lot for me. You know, I've been reading Outlander. It's fine. I'm not afraid of large page amounts. However, I've heard that this is quite heavy in terms of writing, but I am intrigued, and if you can see there, I have the whole box set. I bought it for 15 euros on Facebook Marketplace a few years ago, and it would be dumb not to read this series if I had it, and I would love to know what things are different in the books than in the series. So excited but also scared. Then next up we have Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This one I purely chose because this, the back says that this is in the late 1969, so I'm hoping that means fall. But like, I've heard so many good things about this book. This is on my TBR for other reasons as well, but I tried to choose books that would fit the vibe that I'm going for. Have heard tons of good things about this. Excited to read this. I don't think I've heard anyone say this is bad. So then I have George Orwell's 1984, which I thrifted. Look at this. Just let's take a moment to look at this beautiful book that I thrifted for €3. And I also, you can't see it, but I have a matching one for Animal Farm. That is the same. I think this is so beautiful. But this has been on my TBR for such a long time, and I thought now that I'm taking the sci-fi course, this could go in the vibe, and probably I could get a lot out of this because I am thinking about sci-fi related things. This was written in when? This was written, I think, in the 40s, right? 1949, and this imagines what the world is like in 1984. Very government heavy, I think. Then I read Six of Crows like 20 years ago and everyone told me it's the best book that they've ever read. I thought it was fine. 4 stars fine. I enjoyed it. It wasn't bad. And I have the sequel, have not read it. Want to read it, although I think I do have to like read a brief plot summary of the first one because I've forgotten most things about the first one. But again, if I have it, why not read it? And I enjoy, you know, I'm not reluctantly reading this. I'm excited to read this. It's just funny to me that it takes me so long to get to the sequels. But in general, I really struggle with remembering to also go for the sequels, even if I have them. So that's why I use my Notion reading list, so that I can alternate and I can check that I'm also reading sequels and not only like new books. So this is the second book in the Six of Crows duology, although now that I think about it, I feel like there's a third part coming. Someone who knows more about that can tell the rest of us. Next one, Eldest by Christopher Paolini. This is the second book in the Eragon series, which I love. I read this series when I was younger. I think I read the first one and this one when I was a child and in Finnish. So I am working my way through the series. It's there. I reread Eragon in English, I think maybe in 2021. And this has been on my TBR ever since. And I'm excited to read also the rest of the books in the series. I love the first one. I'm so excited to be back in Christopher Paolini's world. Chef's kiss. There are dragons. There's magic. Is this fantasy? This is fantasy. I am pretty sure dragons means fantasy. So, big recommendation. I haven't read Fourth Wing yet, but I've heard dragons are on the rise. So if you're looking for more dragon literature, Eragon. Read Eragon, not the second part. Read the first part first. But then I have A Winter's Tale, a New York Winter's Tale. I had no idea that the New York is a part of the title. I thrifted this. I saw this movie, I saw a glimpse of this movie, and I thought that looks good. That was like 10 years ago. I thought that looks good. And then I had the Finnish translation of this book on my shelf for the longest time. And then I found the English version. I thrifted this for I think €1. So I'm excited to read this. I think it's needless to say I'm aiming this to be read in winter. So depending on when Finland is going to get snow, this could also be like on my TBR for early 2024, you know? I want to be in the winter with them, because I'm assuming New York Winter's Tale happens in winter, and the portion that I saw of the movie was in winter. So I'm saving this for winter read, if that makes sense. So could be this fall, could be next, could be in the beginning of next year during winter. Next on my list is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I just watched my dear friend Vera's books that she read recently. I'll link it down below if you want to watch it. She took a shit on this book. I mean, not like a huge shit, but medium shit. And I've been really looking forward to reading this book, so I'm very interested to see what I will think about it, because now I'm a little bit nervous, because I mean, of course I've met tons of people who have loved this book, and I do have my own mind. However, I also appreciate Vera's opinion about books, so it makes me a little bit nervous, but it's on my TBR nevertheless. Cool. So this is a classic, so classics always divide opinions, so I'm nervous, but I'm not nervous, you know? Back to the ugliest edition of this trilogy. This is the third book in the Hunger Games series that I've also been rereading recently. This is The Mockingjay. I have been making my way through the Hunger Games in English this time. This is also a case where I read them translated into Finnish when I was younger, and I've had a good time. The second one, Chef's Kiss, and I also got my friend Venla hooked on the series. She just finished the first book, and I will bring, I think it's up there. I will bring her the second book this week when I go to uni, so we are both in the Hunger Games universe currently. I also thrifted this trilogy. I think I paid like $4.50 in total of this whole series, but I hate how it's peeling. That's annoying. But it's okay. I mean, I paid for this book specifically €1.50, so I think it's fine if it's peeling a little. But boy, do I love thrifting books. It's so good. The last on my list for this video is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This is a witch vampire story. I've heard from the book Leonie, I've heard that the vampire related literature is on the rise again, so this is my contribution to that trend. I don't even remember. There's a TV show, if someone has seen it. I think I started this book once on vacation and then forgot about it, so I am planning to read it again, start it all over again and read it. But I feel like this looks like fall reading. Am I being delusional? But I feel like witches and vampires and like stuff like that, that's fall reading. Like Sorry, I don't make the rules. It is fall reading. So this is also on my TBR, and I think my mom has the sequels, so if I want to read the sequels, I'll just steal them from her. Very handy. Let's see how many pages. This is like 600 pages. It looks much thicker, but I think it's because the pages are very not wide. So here are my TBR books for the foreseeable future. I think this will last me until the end of the year, and I think we will get way into spring with these picks. There are a lot of longer ones, so stay tuned for what I choose to read next. Hope you enjoyed this TBR video. Let me know if you've read any of these, or if you're like, if you have any opinions about any of them. And if you want, you can share what's on your TBR. I'd love to hear it. I'm always looking for book recommendations, so. And thank you to those who requested this. It made me feel very seen and respected as a reader, so thank you for being interested in my TBR. This is all from me for now, and keep an eye out for more book-related videos. Or my vlogs. You can also watch my vlogs. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!